tuned in to the Cosmic Convos podcast, your number one source for accurate, relevant, and thought-provoking astrological conversations in the podcast nation. The place where stars and minds align.
Peace. You're now tuned into the Cosmic Convos podcast. I'm your humble host, Root, and this is a Patreon show, so big up to y'all. Like I said, on the show, I'm trying to get more consistent with these, man. There's a lot of different things that we can talk about offline in regards to astrology and different systems and different things like that. So we're gonna get consistent with these, doing them weekly for sure. Who's in the building right now, right? Because this is an exclusive show. The public is not, tapped into this. Let me scoop my mic up a little bit. All right, boom, whatnot. But let me know who's in the building. All right. So, today we wanted to I wanted to piggyback off of the show that we just had in regards to, MCing and, being able to recognize, a quality MC, a quality rapper, from their chart. And we talked about it from a Jyotish perspective, right? But there's some other ways. There's some other things, some key things that you can see in some other systems, in regards to telling, not only looking at, the prospect of being a successful MC, but just even in that person's style, how they actually rap. You know what I'm saying? Or whatnot, So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're not going to go too long or anything like that, but I see a couple people in here. So I like I said, these Patreon shows, this is a good opportunity to get real interactive, right? So if you got questions, it don't even have to be 100% on the topic. It can be about the last show, it can be about a previous show, it can be about a futuristic show. If you want to pull up a chart or something like that, we can do that. We can look at it a little bit and stuff like that. But I want this to be, like I said, an interactive show, and I want you guys to get some value from it or whatnot. But, as always, like I always say, this episode, this special show is brought to you by Push It Forward Media Group, Calipusha Astrology, and you, the patrons out here on Patreon. So big up to y'all. Indeed. So let's go ahead and jump back into it. So, I'm not going to go too deep into 5, element theory, right? I kind of talked about it before in some other systems and stuff like that, but I'll give you a little bit, right? So, when we talk about the 5 elements, right, we're talking about fire, earth, metal, water, wood, right? Yeah, that's the elements we're talking about, right? Talking about fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. Okay? And they all express themselves in different ways, right? So, there's a lot of talk in regards to, creativity, right? What elements are the sources of creativity, right? You got different types of creativity. Okay? And I'm gonna expand this a little bit and even get into, get into something that even goes beyond the genre of rap, just to, kind of hone in on the different types of creativity, right? So you have a type of creativity that's, more on the end of, it's more spontaneous, right? It's more improv, right? When you talk about jazz, right? When you look at jazz players and stuff like that, they are improv musicians, okay? That's the source of creativity, right? And then you have the type of, creatives that come through and they, they come through and they create things that you've never seen before, right? They just come out of nowhere and it's like, who are these people? Where did this come from? Who gave them this idea? That's another type of creativity, right? And then you have a type of creativity that's very, 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 very strongly dependent upon structure, right? It's based on the preparation. That's where the source of that type of creativity comes from. It comes from the actual preparation, right? So, what you want to do is you want to see, like if you were analyzing your own chart or you were looking at somebody else's chart, maybe your child, a spouse, a mate, just a good friend or something like that, and they wanted to get off in one of these creative fields, there's certain things that you want to see, right? Certain things that you want to see. So that's what we're going to get into today, all right? And we're going to focus on, I'm going to focus on 3 charts. I'm going to keep it simple, right? Focus on 3 charts. The first chart we're going to look at is, and we were going to talk about him on the last show, just a little insiders, just a little insight. We were going to talk about Jay-Z, right? The problem with Jay-Z is that his time of birth, it seems solid. We're almost sure that is his time of birth, but the rating of the actual time of birth is a little sketchy. So, we kind of yield on the side of caution and just left it alone. But, I mean, the chart that we have for him is pretty close. It looks like him. From multiple points, right? But one of the powerful things about Baz, right? So we talk about, 5 elements and stuff like that. So if you didn't know, the system that we go into for that is Baz, right? You can get a lot of information without knowing the hour of birth. That's what we call a 3/4 chart, right? So it's things that's present just from the 3/4 chart alone. And from the time that's given, it just kind of reinforces the things that we see in the 3/4 chart. And if you don't know what a 3/4 chart is, right? And I'm going to spell it out a little more when I pull up this actual Baza chart, right? Because Baza is a system that has 4 pillars of time. You have your year, you have your month, you have your day, and you have your hour, right? And each one of those increments of time is its own pillar, right? So when we talk about a 3/4 chart, that means that we know everything except for the time of birth. So that pillar can be left empty. But because we got somewhat of a time for Jay-Z, we're not going to do the 3/4 chart. We're going to work with what we got because the time that's projected for him is pretty spot on, close to how he operates, and some things in there that might surprise you a little bit, but there's an element of it that we're going to focus on more. So let me go ahead and pull that up. And like I said, I want this show to be interactive. So I see, it's at least one of you or a couple of you that are flowing in and out of this. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think, right? Let me know what you're seeing and everything like that. You got questions? Let me know. That's what this is for. All right, so we got Jay-Z. Okay? So when we look at Jay-Z's chart, right? We know that he is a Gui Day Master, Yin Water Day Master. Okay? So with that yin water day master, that makes someone very, it can make you, water in general, even the yang side, is more internal than external, right? So that creates somebody that's in their head, right? That creates somebody who's, looking within to gain things, right? But as a yin water day master, right? The water element in general, you see how strong it is, right? So if we're going to assume that this time is right. Like I said, even with the 3-quarter chart, it doesn't matter because it's pretty spot on, right? He has a rooted yang water element here, okay? He has yin water day master, right? And he also has yin water here. This is good. This is a good combination, right? For somebody, when you have your day master element in there, it really makes it strong because, this earth controls that water. But when you have it in there, it can balance it out a little bit. So that helps Jay-Z. Then we have this yin water branch right here, yang water there. So that water element is very strong. And as you see, if this time is correct, that means that water is 62% of Jay-Z's chart. I mean, like, come on, man. I mean, that's whenever you pull up a Baza chart, a 4 pillars chart, and you see an element that's kicking out like this, you know that this person has an extreme level of talent in this thing, right? So this is his day master, right? And like I said, without giving a whole course on Baza, just understand that day master element is kind of similar to your ascendant a little bit, right? It represents your, the way your personal disposition in life, right? The amount of it as far as quantity, measuring from a quantitative perspective, shows your ability to exercise a personal effort, right? So we can see here that Jay-Z has a inherent ability from birth to be able to, exercise his personal effort in the things that he's trying to accomplish, right? But from an elemental perspective, right, that water energy, think about water, right? Water takes on the form of anything that is sitting there, right? Water is cool, right? Even if you're talking about a racing ocean or a racing river, like the Amazon River, the Nile River, right? It's focused towards heading towards a certain destination, and it's going to get there no matter what, right? Even if it takes a long time, it's going to sit there and, if it's held up by some rocks or something like that, it's going to go and just chip away at the rock until it makes a way. Water always finds a way, right? And then as far as creativity, water is one of the elements that is very common that you see in people that are in the creative fields, right? So for Sean Carter, for Jay-Z, for Hove, right? He definitely has the creative energies there. Wood is another one, and metal is another one, right? But for him, the water is dominating. So when you look at his way of creating, he goes through and he pulls out things in a style that no one else is necessarily thinking of, right? He's an unorthodox creator, okay, from that water element. That's what it makes him do. He goes, like, as far as being, like, I'm pretty sure the wood element is there. It's present, right? You see that 14%, that green. The water is this blue, 62% sitting there, right? So from functioning from that perspective, when he goes to create, he is not necessarily looking at everybody else. He might get a little spark, but what he pulls, it comes from inside. You can definitely tell that from his style of rap, right? Especially early on, before he got on, when you listen to, his early music, it doesn't sound like anyone else. I mean, you could tell he's influenced by probably Big Daddy Kane, Rakim and stuff like that, but he doesn't overly do it with them. And then to learn that all this time, he's always been writing these songs in his head, that's again points to the fact that he is internally inspired, right? So that water element being prevalent like that creates that type of situation. And I'd even expand this to some other areas of life, like, from actors and other forms of entertainment. When you see people with that strong water, they can just get possessed. They can go into a different form, into a different mode of expressing themselves, expressing art that you may not necessarily can visibly identify with in other places, right? So that's something that you see very prevalent in Jay-Z's chart, right? Or whatnot. He's definitely somebody who is what he say he is in regards to, like, he sit there and he come up with something and he spit it out. And then now, even to another extent, right, water is like kind of like it corresponds to the kidney energy system. And the kidney energy system has a lot to do with hair and, like your hair, fingernails, your overall, like, battery, your overall vitality, virility and stuff like that is very grounded. Your life, potential as far as like health wise, how long your longevity. It's very grounded in this element here. And if you see him nowadays, right, like people might have thought, because back in the day, he used to rock a real low Caesar, real low cut. But now you see him now, he's rocking dreads. In his elder age, he has more hair. That's that water. So we know for sure, even if this time is a little off, we know that he has an abundance of water in this chart because he has all of the shaping factors that point towards that, right? Indeed, like I said, I see a couple of y'all in here, man. Holler at me, shoot me a comment or something like that. Let me know if you got a question or whatnot. Otherwise, this is going to go very, 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 very quick. All right. On the other hand, let's switch to our guide. This is like Professor X and Magneto, right? Nasir Jones. Okay? So we don't have a good time for him. So let me do the 3/4 chart, right? 3/4 chart for Nas, because we don't have a good time for him. He's also a water day master, and he has significant amount of it, right? But his main bread and butter is here. This is metal. It's metal, right? So the difference between water creativity and metal creativity is this, right? Metal creativity is choreographed, right? And it represents the resource area of his life, right? So we're talking about, your education, right? What people give to you, what you've learned, your capacity to learn. That's where it's at. So we can look at Nas to tell that he's a true student of the game. That's where he gains his creativity. He gains his creativity from studying the game, right? That's his gift. So, he's not the freestyler, just gaining inspiration from out of the blue from somewhere inside of themselves. That's not Nas's style. Nas is whether you know it or not, and looking at this chart, he's heavily choreographed, right? And I'm not talking about he got handlers. I'm talking about him. He studied rap, right? He studied Rakim. He studied the greats, and he modeled himself after that, and he's adapted and being able to get his style. So that's why he comes off this way. That's why his music sounds the way that it does. His style is. And I think in his lesser years, he's less choreographed because he's done it so much. He's done it so much that he's mastered it. But at the core, this is his bread and butter, right? Very different figuration as compared to the two, right? Okay. And like I said, I'm not really touching on money that much because both of them, they share something in common, right? If you see this red thing, this red color here, they both lack it. Now, if their times are off, then they may have some of it, but either way it goes, it's not that prominent, right? So both of them lack the fire element. That's the red. And they both have a reputation of being pretty, pretty low key, not that vocal, right? They're not like, they're not like they're going to come in there and take over the party and talk to everybody they're low key, they're in the cut, you know what I'm saying, and let the work for you speak for themselves. I share a lot of qualities with that. I have some of that fire element in me, but yeah, you're talking about Nas. Yeah, Nas isn't a freestyler, right? That's not his bread and butter. He comes and he prepares, right? He had a song called My Book of Rhymes. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got a whole bunch of just flows and stuff that he writes down, and he gets, he gets it together. So it's a different style. One is not better than the other, but that's just, that's his perspective, right? Or whatnot. So, back to what I was saying originally about Nas, right? He's definitely going to make sure that he's prepared. And both of these, these entertainers are not the most external verbal people. They're pretty private. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you see them out, like, when you to the point to where when you see a picture of them, it's like, wow. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's like news. It's like, oh, I caught, you know what I mean? I got, Jay-Z, you know what I mean? We caught him at the X and X, situation or whatnot. We caught him at this show. We caught him, in, Belarus somewhere walking with, you know what I mean? Like, they're internal people. They're not trying to be seen or whatnot. So that shows up in their lack of fire, right? And in the way that they rap, they're not overwhelming bravado, right? Bravado. They just come through, do their thing. They show up, they perform when they're supposed to perform, but they're not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, over boisterous, screaming, yelling, begging for attention. That's not their style or whatnot. So it's very, very, very interesting or whatnot, between the two. They have some similar qualities, but Nas has that metal, that yin metal thing very, very keen, right? And, my bad. And metal is, is like someone who likes to look good too, right? Whatever they do, they try to make it look good, right? So I would say that, just from my personal experience looking at the two artists, I would say that Nas has had a better reputation for fashion, just in regards to wearing clothes that people want to wear, than Jay-Z. Jay-Z had, like when you're talking about change clothes, rocking the button-ups and stuff like that, but he's never been like a crazy fashion head, right? Nas has always been real keen on, you know what I mean, like his dress, his style, the way that he looks and stuff like that. He has more of an old school style, you know what I mean, but it's choreographed, right? Again, I'm using that word, choreographed, and it's kind of curated to a time, so that's his thing. It works for him. He's known for that. He likes to look good. You understand what I'm saying? Jay-Z has a more, a pure, like, kind of creative kind of twitch to him. You understand what I'm saying? Even though he got money, he got paper and stuff like that, he's a creator. You understand what I'm saying? He don't gravitate to art and to, Basquiat and all these people for no reason and stuff like that. He's an unorthodox guy. You never know what you're really going to get from him. And if if you're a person who's close to him, you know him, they will probably say that, yeah, he's a bit unpredictable. We don't know. And I don't mean like he's like sporadic. It just means that he can adapt to anything. He can come in and be doing anything. You understand what I'm saying? Or whatnot. My high, man. I see you in the building, man. What's somebody else you want me to look at? I know you was you asked some questions about Jay Electronica. And I actually do have a chart on Jay Electronica, but I can only look at it from a moon perspective. I have not looked at his Z chart, but I do have his Jotis chart. So if you want me to, we can look at it. I know you asked if he had a Kyle Sarper yoke, and I think he might. He has some other things that's pretty interesting that explains his kind of creative patterns and why, he's kind of had an unorthodox career. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not Like he has all the respect. People like him, but there's some things about him. And he does have a Kalsapra yoga or whatnot. Tech 9. Do you got a good time on Tech 9? Did you find a good time on Tech 9? And I'll be honest with you. I'm not. I know who Tech 9 is. I respect him as a business person, but I have never listened to Tech 9's music. Never. I've never listened to it. So you don't. Do you have a time or no? Okay, so it's a relatively decent time. If you got it, man, go ahead and type it in, and I can, go ahead and start working on it. Go ahead and pull it up for you. And again, like I said, I haven't looked at it before, so everything that I'm talking about will be straight off of just looking at it first time. But I know he's a monster in the independent music game, man. So I think, in the meantime, I'll give you a couple minutes to go ahead and pull up that time period or whatnot. His time of birth, if you got it. But let's go ahead and look at. Let me get my boy Biggie off here with the crazy koozie sweater. J Electronica. So I've had this chart sitting in there for a minute. So as you can see, this time of birth is not accurate. I don't have a time of birth for J Electronica. I'm pretty sure he knows his time of birth because he's always citing astrology and stuff like that, man. But you can see his chart, right? So this is a Kalsapra yoga, right? So he has K2 sitting here in Aries, right? 11 degrees, 54 minutes. And then he also has Rahu sitting here in Aries, right? I mean, not in Aries, in Libra. So that creates a Kalsapra yoga. So he does have a Kalsapra yoga. Unkma Hi, got a quick question. What made you ask that? What was it? Something about it that made you ask that? And I could pull you on here too. I'm gonna post a comment if you want to talk. You know what I mean? You ain't even gotta put your camera on if you want to talk. You know what I'm saying? And speak to me directly. We can do that for sure. I just posted a link in there or whatnot. But what made you ask if he had a Kalsapra yoga? Hi. How you doing, my brother?
It's a poo.
That's a poo. Peace.
Yeah.
So what made you ask if J Electronica has a Kalsapra yoga?
Okay, yes. I have that at Cosmic Insights.
Okay. So you took a side.
Yeah, And I was like, wait a minute. I didn't know if the time was a factor on that, but I noticed that everything was between K2 and Rahu, even without the time. I was just like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the only time the time would be a factor in that is if the moon is like, kind of hairline. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, so like his moon is his moon is in the belly of the beast.
Oh, okay.
Saturn and the moon is in the belly of the beast. So he definitely has a Kalsapra yoga. Some people have like, hair like me, right? Pretty not for the day. Let's just say that I was born the next day. My birthday is November 15th, right? So if I was born November 16th, I would have a Kalsapra yoga.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right, because the only thing that sets off my chart is my moon. My moon is what's not inside of between the two nodes, right?
Okay.
Or what?
Yeah.
But everything else, so that pokes it out. But for him, that moon is right in the belly. I mean, it would take him 4 or 5 days to get out of this Kalsapra yoga.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But based on what your understanding of a Kalsapra yoga, can you see that in him?
Yeah, and you maybe you can correct me and refine what I'm saying, but yeah, like the fame, he like he just came on the scene and then disappeared, you know?
Yeah.
Like, like 2010, he was known and people were like, oh man, he was supposed to blow up, and then he just, the album's supposed to come out and disappeared. You think that's accurate insight, accurate take on that?
Yeah, it's that, but it's an internal thing with him, right? So one thing you see here that's key, right? You see that Saturn and Moon. Saturn and Moon conjunct. That Saturn when it's heavily, connected to that moon like that, it can create certain situations, right? It can make a person, it can create depression, right? It can create someone that's, you know what I mean? Like it comes and it really just brings like a kind of cold front on the mind, on that, the way that person expresses themselves. And then again, his moon is in Cancer, right? Again, and we've talked about it on the show a little bit, how a lot of men with moon in Cancer, it's an interesting dynamic. You understand what I'm saying? Moon in its own sign, you would think it would deliver excellent results. It can, but it's really kind of, you know what I mean? It's an interesting energy. He's an emotional guy. He goes through a lot. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whatnot. You know what I mean? I can see he probably does have bouts of depression, or just like a lack of just confidence in himself and his ability. He probably waxes and wanes on that.
Okay, I got you, moody. Okay.
And I mean, when I say moody, I don't mean like like he like but it's probably more internal, like he's battling with stuff. Different conditionings, different ideas, different things like that probably has a lot to do with what's going on with Jay Electronica.
Okay. Understand.
Right? Because it's sitting here like this, like that. Yeah, absolutely. Whatnot. And that Kalsapra yoga just kind of puts you in like, it's like a spell, man.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it makes you unorthodox. It makes you an unorthodox person. You do things differently than other people. And he does, man. I mean, like 1 minute he's this and then he's dating a Rothschild, right? You understand what I'm saying?
Right, yeah. Yeah, and FOI one day. Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
But you see, he got a heavy Virgo energy going on here, man. He got Venus, Mars, Mercury, and Sun all sitting in Virgo.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. I was like, yeah, that's interesting.
So he's a very cerebral guy. You understand what I'm saying? Very information driven. You know what I mean? He's probably like one of them cats, man, who got, the books on the UFOs, and this could be, he probably is like all on top of that type of stuff. He gets joy out of new information. The information junkie.
Oh, yeah. Cerebral, yeah, like you said.
But he can rap his butt off though, man.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
yeah.
If he ever like really just got like just really serious and focused and disciplined and rap, he'll do well.
Yeah.
But this Kalsapra yoga, Saturn and Moon conjunction, that's playing a role in why he's not doing that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you got to go through it. Well, yeah. That's one of my the MCs right there for me. For my fear. I was like, yeah. So I was looking at that.
Yeah, he can definitely go though, for sure, man. He can definitely get busy.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatnot. I was going. Yeah, man. I was. Do you got the time for Tech 9?
Yeah, 9 a.m.
What's the date?
This is November. Casey Mo. Yeah. Appreciate this episode, man.
No problem, man. I gotta do these. We're gonna do these every week, man. It's just simple as that. We gotta do them every week. So just getting everything together, man. We got a lot of stuff. Me personally,
Yeah.
got a lot of stuff that we working on and stuff like that. But try to drop in and do one of these Patreon shows every week.
I think, yeah.
So you found a date?
Yeah, November. Oh yeah.
Okay. So we got Tech 9 at November 8th, 1971. So it's an A rating because he pulled it from his memory. He says he's born at 9 a.m. So let's see what this look like. And like I said, I know more about Tech 9 as a business person than an actual MC. I heard a couple of songs, but I don't listen to it that much. You want to tell you who Tech 9 kind of he put me in the mind of a little bit?
Who?
Esham.
Who?
Esham.
Yeah. Yeah, Detroit. Yeah. Sham.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I got I'm from Ohio, so Detroit's right there.
Yeah.
But I got a partner who's real. He love Esham, man.
Yeah.
Indeed. So,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So, do you see it pull up? I got his chart pulled up. Break it up a little bit, but I'll go ahead and start talking about it, right? Just a little bit, right? If this time is correct, he has an unconventional path. Scorpios never have it easy. You're a Scorpio ascendant. Come on, how or Scorpio ascendants never really have it easy. They always got a lot of stuff they got to overcome and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's pretty consistent with the way that he's presented himself in the industry and stuff like that, with really championing the independent route, self-distribution, and all those different things like that. So I definitely can see those, correlations there. First Lord in the fourth house. I can't really speak to that much with him because I don't know him like that. Fourth house is a pretty personal house. It also has some things to do with real estate and different things like that, but I can't really speak on that because I don't know those particular things. I'll say, he got debilitated sun in the 12th house, right? That's an interesting spot. Especially for it being debilitated. Right? So he's on the low. 12th house, right? And the sun is how you project yourself. So I could tell that he's a very accommodating dude, but he's kind of low key. He probably is reluctant to leadership, especially with that sun sitting there in the 12th house. He's reluctant to really taking on the reins or something. I wonder what his relationship with his father is or whatnot. That'd be interesting to see what his actual relationship with his father is or whatnot. I'm just doing some Google searches. Oh no, that's Tekashi. We don't want Tekashi. We want Tech 9. Okay, but the same story, right? So listen, just like I said, right? And like I said, I don't know a whole lot about Tech 9 on that regard. But here it says his name is Aaron Dantes Yates. So it says Yates was born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri. He began rapping at a very early age and would rap the letters of his name in order to remember how to spell it, right? His father, Carlton Cook, was estranged from the family, and his mother suffered from epilepsy and lupus. Okay, When he was a child, which emotionally affected him and inspired him to search for God. He would explore abandoned buildings with his best friend, hoping to catch a ghost on film. He attended Southwestern to catch. So, like I said, I wonder about his relationship with his father, right? And you got the sun here. It's debilitated in the 12th house. That doesn't bode well for a father. If the sun is somewhat strong in the 12th house, that's a different story. But sun in the 12th and debilitated, that's not good. That doesn't bode well for the father or whatnot. So you see he was estranged or whatnot. And you see his mom here, boom, 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 right? Conjunct with K2. That doesn't bode well for the mother. You understand what I'm saying? Being conjunct that malefic like that. K2 doesn't bode well and whatnot. But nonetheless, I could see a Scorpio ascendant in him because, you know, he's been able to persevere nonetheless. You know, Jupiter sitting here in Jesta. Jesta has been associated as a nakshatra, and I'm not going to say this officially, but just in general, a lot of people have associated with Jesta nakshatra as a nakshatra that helps one to gain a lot of power. There's a common thread in a lot of billionaires and stuff like that with that Jesta. Because that's just the vibe that it gives. You know, it's a power-seeking nakshatra. Wherever it's at, it likes to have power or whatnot, you know. So Jupiter sitting there in Scorpio right there in Jesta bodes well for him to be able to gain wealth, gain prominence. But he's still low-key. He's always underground. See, first lord in the 8th, in the 4th house. It's Mars. It doesn't get that directional strength that it normally would get. And stuff like that. So he is who he is. He's strong in his arena. You understand what I'm saying? Or whatnot, but he's not like the top dog. But he got a lot of respect. You can see that. He had to fight through a lot. You know? See some other key things. And, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. You know, Mercury being placed how it is, especially dealing with the chart, you know, how we were talking on last episode. He's an okay rapper. You understand what I'm saying? He's okay. He can flow. You know what I'm saying? He's not like he's not an ox or whatnot, but he does what he does, man. He you can see I wouldn't be, cause you know what I mean, this looks like his chart. This definitely looks like his chart. Or whatnot. You know, but Mercury is in a decent place, but it's not just, let's see, yeah, you know, it's an okay spot, you know what I mean? But again, he's okay rapper. He doesn't have nothing in his chart that just separates him from the rest. You understand what I'm saying? That just makes him like just a hardcore, you know what I mean? Like, he can flow, he cool. But it's not, you know what I mean? He's more of a businessman than that. And just more of a survivor. More of a just, you know what I mean? That's his claim to fame for sure. But he got a following and stuff like that. So I can see that. I can believe this chart. I don't know for sure, but it looks believable. We have to dig in a little deeper to really get into it. You understand what I'm saying? You heard what I said about Tech Nine, right, and his father, right? But here's Nas's chart. Like I said, we don't have a good time for him, but this is just, you know, kind of what you're looking at, just general placements. Let me make sure. Let me double check that because I thought I had him as a Pisces, moon in Pisces. Let me double check that time. September. Yeah, that's wrong. September 13th, 1973. See? I knew I was right. Okay. So yeah, Nas. Moon in Pisces. Moon in Pisces, man. I mean, it's a good placement. Moon does very well in Pisces. Does very well in Pisces. You see a lot of people who are very successful. They do well in Pisces. And you see here Mercury's in its own sign. Mercury's in Virgo. You understand what I'm saying? Venus is in he got a, you know what I mean? He got like the problem here is he got Jupiter debilitated, but let's see where Saturn's at. Okay. Is there a cancellation here? No, not really. No cancellation. No cancellations there. So that debilitation is strong. It's there and whatnot. It's not in the. I know it's sitting here in the 9th house, but we don't know his ascendant, so I can't say. But for Nas, yeah, man. I mean, Venus in his own sign that bodes well for him. Mercury in its own sign that bodes well for him being able to, spit stuff. Sun in Leo. Mars in his own. He got a strong chart. The only thing that's kind of sitting there is this thing, that Jupiter debilitated and it's retrograde debilitated. So that's that has its impact. But everything else in here is just like, whew. You see it when he became. You know what I'm saying? He's in that sun period now, so he's been rising to more of a leadership role. He's more of a king now. You know what I'm saying? As far as like just, career wise and different things like that. He's been able to, put himself in a better position. For sure. Or whatnot. But he definitely got flow. You see that Mercury's in it, you know what I mean? So you can see these things, and that's really what I wanted to touch on here. At first we talked about the Baz and looked at it from that perspective, but we can jump into the Jyotish lane as well. And we can see a lot of similar things like we talked about last time or whatnot, But, we closing in here close to about an hour, 55 minutes and stuff like that. So hopefully you guys enjoy this, definitely check it in and stuff like that. Check this out, watch the replay, let us know his comments, and, send me messages. Let me know what type of stuff you want, because we can jump on here. We can just do a straight up and down live Q&A, talk about whatever you want to talk about in regards to astrology. We can do it like that, or if you don't, I'll have something planned. All right. So, Unc My High, man, thank you, my brother, man, for coming on. I'm going to get with you tomorrow, shoot you a text. Be on the lookout for that on a personal matter or whatnot. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for being patrons. And we are out. All right. Peace.